Hello and welcome to ProtoBalls Talk. I'm ProtoMet.
Bang. You're dead.
My recycled balls, I trusted you and you shot me in the back from the front. See, there's the exit one.
Yeah, I see the exit wound. Don't you know you should never trust a brother? Today we're saying...
So anybody who's looking at the YouTube version, you're probably wondering what movie we're actually watching because the poster is in Italian.
Pugno e... Per un... Okay, I got it. Per un pugno di dollari.
Or a fistful of dollars.
Yeah. Why don't they just call it pugno di dollari?
Because the actual translation is for a few dollars. For a fistful of dollars.
You fucking...
That's what it says on Wikipedia!
Yeah. Per un pugno di dollari. Literally, for a fistful of dollars.
Which explains why the sequel is called what it is.
Okay,
which
so
we'll get to later.
Fistful of Dollars, one of the most iconic early spaghetti western films.
And the starting point for one Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Probably never heard of him.
He's probably unimportant. He's probably sits at home and talks to a chair. That makes me sad.
How long ago did that happen?
That happened like 3 years ago. He was at the Republican National Convention. He was sitting by himself. He was just talking to a chair. I don't... Clint, what happened? Were you just pretending to look busy as you were uncomfortable being there? I think that's what it really was. You just didn't want to be there.
So yeah, this is the first major Clint Eastwood movie.
First major film of Sergio Leone, who has an absolutely legendary career. When you look at his other films,
which we will get to.
Yeah,
I mean not all of them, but we'll get to some of it. At least one of his most famous ones.
Yeah, eventually. But this is the one that started it all.
It is the first entry in the Man with No Name trilogy, or the Dollars trilogy.
Or the Dollars trilogy, yeah. So this released on, let's see here, in Italy, the 12th of September, 1964. Yeah, okay, yeah, 12th of September, 1964, in Italy. It's about 100 minutes long. Or about 99 minutes.
I'm actually looking at the Wikipedia with him, and it doesn't even list a U.S. release.
No.
It's like, it obviously did, because we watched it with the English dub.
But, so it was made with a $200,000 to $225,000 budget.
Which is ridiculously cheap.
In the U.S. and Canada, it grossed $14.5 million.
Trauma wishes they could pull those numbers.
Yeah. Trauma pulls cheap, but they wish they could get that.
We should cover some of their movies
sometime. Oh my god, no. I don't want to
At least their most famous one.
I don't want to give Lloyd Kaufman any more attention than he deserves. The guy's a maniac.
Oh, but he owns it.
At this point, I think it's a gimmick.
Probably.
I'm sure he knows everybody thinks he's crazy, and that's why he does it.
I'm sure.
So yeah, starring Clint Eastwood and a bunch of other jobbers. It doesn't really matter who else.
Cause like we're not trying to be mean to anybody else, but damn, I don't recognize anybody else.
Like the only one who might be recognizable is Marianne Koch, but she's anything. I don't know what else. Let's see here. Let's see what else she has been in. So this movie is based off of the, I believe 1955. Is that?
I'm not sure. It's based off of the Akira Kurosawa film Yojimbo.
One of his seminal films. He also did Seven Samurai, I believe.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
That came out the same year as Godzilla.
Yeah, so It's got sort of a pedigree behind it.
Yeah.
She hasn't been in anything else. This is her biggest role.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You just clicked on her name because it was the only blue link on the page, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Outside of Clint Eastwood. We should probably talk about the movie.
So the
movie starts with this nameless character that we'll just call Joe, because at one point I think one character just starts calling him Joe repeatedly.
So he's referenced in the movie by two things: Joe and the Americano, which just means the American.
That's because this movie takes place in Mexico, but Clint Eastwood's character is American.
So he shows up to town, and he's stopping at a well getting a drink of water. And
when he sees a little kid run over to kind of sneak into a building and then get chased out by a bunch of thugs.
That kid gets fucking kicked out.
He gets kicked out. And then the assholes start shooting at the kid to chase him off.
Yeah, and the dad shows up. And they're like, "We warned you, motherfucker! We warned you!"
And we're given no context for this, and neither is the Americano.
Yeah, and the Americano looks over. There's a woman there, and one of the thugs. We'll just call them thugs for now. One of the thugs looks over and notices him, and nonchalantly, Joe just goes back to drinking his water. Like he doesn't give a single fuck. Because he probably doesn't at this point.
I think that was Chico who gives him that look.
Yeah, I think it might have been Chico.
It's a character named Chico who gets somewhat more properly introduced in a little bit.
Yeah.
But then the Americano gets back on his horse and rides further into town. Or actually gets to town. This is actually somewhere on the outskirts of town.
Yeah, this is the outskirts of town. He gets into town, and some other thugs, unrelated thugs, note, some unrelated thugs start shooting at his horse for the fuck.
For shits and giggles!
So he wanders. So he talks to another dude.
Well, the horse is...
the horses ran off.
The horse is going a bit wild because it's been shot at, and at one point the guy just kind of grabs onto an overhanging
Joe just
grabs onto it and just hangs from it as the horse just rides off, and he just nonchalantly lets himself down, as though this were a matter of course.
Some stranger comes up to him and he's like, "Hi there. Hi, how you doing?"
Oh, the dude who tries to get him to buy stuff.
Yeah. Before he dies. As you can tell,
it's just a dude who just tries to sell the Americano stuff.
Yeah.
Knowing full well that he's probably going to die because of what's all been going down in the town.
So he goes to a bar, a tavern, and he meets Silvanito, the innkeeper, and he says, "Well, I don't have any money," and Silvanito says, "Look, it's on the house. Just get out of town, please. There's only one business in town that makes money, and that's killing." As you can see, he
opens up a window, and we see the Undertaker just working away on coffins. I love this character.
That character's great.
Clink, clink, clink.
He's like the richest man in town. And you see you just see coffins. Yeah, we're going by member.
I was actually just trying to remember Silvanito.
Yep, Silvanito. Yeah, so there's coffins for days outside the window. And they go up to the balcony and they go check out the town, and Silvanito tells them, "Well, on one side, we got a bunch of what is it, drug dealers, basically."
I don't know, the Baxter The Baxter gang.
Well, on one side there's gun smugglers, the Baxters, who also happen to have the sheriff of the town.
Yeah, he's the leader of the gang.
Yeah.
And then you have the Rojos.
The Rojos. Benito, Esteban, and Ramon.
Ramon will show up later, but the Americano, he asks Silvanito which of the two is the more powerful group, and Silvanito is like, well, if I had to guess, I'd say the Rojos.
And he's like, well, one gang over here, another gang over there, and me in the middle. Looks like there's some money to be made. His character's so great.
So
Clint Eastwood's character is so fucking great at how fucking conniving and selfish he is. But he does it for shits and giggles.
So the Americano, he goes to go talk with the Rojos.
He talks to the Rojos and he's like, "Hey, I heard you need some guys. I'm a capable guy. Here, let me show you."
And then he goes over to the Baxter's group, talks to the guys who were shooting at his horse before, and was like, "Hey, my horse got scared. I know you were just doing it for fun and shits and giggles, but he got a bit scared, and then you guys started laughing at him,
and he doesn't
like it when people laugh, because then he gets to thinking that you're laughing at him.
Like he's talking absolute crazy talk to throw these guys off. And then he just shoots all four of them.
Yeah. Before he actually goes there, he quickly turns to the Undertaker as like, 3 coffins.
3 coffins. Yeah, prepare me 3 coffins. And the Undertaker's like, woo! There's some killing going on.
So then the Americano ends up shooting 4. He ends up meeting
the Undertaker again.
Baxter first.
He meets John.
This is where we learn that John Baxter is the sheriff.
Yeah, he meets John Baxter, and John Baxter's like, "I'll have you strung up for this," and he's like, "I don't think so. See ya."
And then he starts walking back, quickly turns to the Undertaker, and is like,
"My bad, 4." And it's like Christmas came early for this Undertaker. He's like, "Oh, thank you, sir." Oh my god! So then
Americano goes back to the Rojos, which finalizes the deal with which one was it? Benito. Benito.
Yes. He gets money from Benito.
Benito Rojo. And during the conversation they're having, Benito shows him a suit of armor with a bunch of bullet holes in the left chest area.
Stick a pin in that.
He mentions that it was the work of his brother Ramon.
Ramon, who is the deadliest shot in all of town.
The leader of the gang, of the Rojo gang.
Basically, yeah.
But Benito decides to hire on the Americano.
Yeah.
And Esteban's not pleased about this, because they figure they could just shoot him dead.
Yeah, Esteban's like, "We can't trust him, if you want I can just shoot him in the back." And Benito's like, "You're a fucking idiot."
Yeah, you are an idiot!
You are an idiot. What happens if you miss and he's still alive? You're dead. We're all dead.
Yeah, Benito is the smart one of the two.
And Ramon's the smartest out of all of them. So that should sort of tell you.
Smartest and deadliest.
And deadliest, yeah.
They basically talk about Ramon as though he were some shooting god.
Yeah. So the stranger's given a room. And he hangs around for a bit. And he was listening in on the conversation between Benito and Esteban. And he goes back to his room. It stealthily goes back to his room. And he's like, "I don't like it here. I'm gonna go back to the inn."
Yeah.
Just to sort of stick it in their face that he doesn't need them.
I think he tells it to
he tells it to Esteban.
Yeah.
He tells it to Esteban. "Well, frankly, I'm just not sure I could live with you guys." I forget what insult he says, but it's funny.
He does hint at the idea that they don't need him.
Yeah.
So he just leaves with the money.
Yep. Ah, God. I'm trying to think of what exactly happens next, because it's a bit fuzzy from the middle of the movie. I'll put on IMDb.
He goes back to the inn, stays the night.
Yeah. Well, what happens? What happens is essentially there's a bunch of stuff.
We do end up learning that cavalry is coming through town to transport something.
Yeah, a cavalry coming through.
Neither the Baxters nor the Rojos want any trouble, because if there's any trouble while the cavalry's in town, that would lead to an investigation, and neither party wants an investigation.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the Americano decides to try sneaking a peek at the stagecoach that's coming through So
the cavalry comes into town, and they've got a stagecoach, and Silvanito and Joe are talking, and Joe's like, "Well, what do you suppose is in that stagecoach?" And Silvanito says, "Why don't you go check out? If they shoot you, you'll know it's gold." So he goes to check it out, and he almost gets a peek, but he gets a gun in his face.
He gets a peek of a gun in his face from inside, because there's a guy inside the stagecoach.
Yeah. And all Joe is just like, fair enough.
Just walks off.
I cannot understate how many times Clint Eastwood's character could have literally died at any point in this movie, and he somehow lucks his way out of it.
Oh, hell yeah.
He is close to death like 5 times in this movie, if that.
So after the cavalry leaves, Joe and Silvanito... Well, Joe decides to bring Silvanito along to go see what's going to go happen with the cavalry.
The next morning, the cavalry are sneaking out of town, going all quiet-like.
So Joe brings Silvanito along to
go check that out. And we see an American cavalry unit crossing a river.
I assume this takes place during the Spanish-American War or something, or maybe it's a border skirmish.
This takes place after a later movie. This takes place after the third movie, because the third movie takes place first, and that one takes place during the Civil War.
Oh, okay, so that makes sense given the uniforms. So the Mexican cavalry goes to meet up with the American cavalry, and it's very heavily implied that the Mexican cavalry are exchanging gold in exchange for American guns.
Yes.
Oh, but the
shit goes tits up.
Yeah, because turns out Ramon Rojos and his men, disguised as American soldiers, just shoot up the entire Mexican cavalry take the gold themselves.
They shoot the entire fucking place up with a Maxim machine gun.
Like, there are some dudes who just are trying to get away, whether by horse or by sneaking up a hill, and
which is actually very useful, because that would place this around 1895, because a Maxim came out around that time.
So yeah, it's basically a bloodbath.
Yeah, they're fucking dead.
And then when all the Mexican soldiers are dead, Ramon and his men bring out the corpses of the U.S. soldiers and redress them to make it look like there was a dispute between the two cavalries, and that's what happened.
Because the backstory is that since the gold is missing, there's going to be an investigation, and the Rojos want to be as clean as possible.
Yeah.
They don't want any of their stench anywhere near that.
Even though it's technically all over it.
Yeah. Basically. So, let's see here. So after that,
Joe, what all happens?
So what happens is Joe
sneaks into the Baxters.
So what happens is he doesn't not quite yet. What happens is Ramon comes back and he's like, "Well, I've got an idea. Let's make friends with the Baxters. Let's have a bonfire tonight."
Because Ramon's thinking is, well, if we get in good with them right now, they won't cause any trouble during the investigation that's up. We know is going to be coming up. Well, they get their peace for a little while, and then when all the dust is clear, and then we shoot them in the back.
Yeah,
and take over this town.
Basically.
All three buildings of it. I'm kidding. There are 5.
Seriously, this town is fucking minute.
Well, most of its population are either in a gang or dead.
or sex slaves. or sex slaves.
Way to kill the mood, dude.
Just speaking facts here.
It
is a town in Mexico, so I mean.
Yeah, we do learn about Marisol and how Ramon has the hots for her, and we'll get into her in a little bit.
Yeah.
So after the Americano...
So Joe has an idea.
So he decides to sneak into the Baxter's residence and convince the wife to convince her husband to listen to his story, which is... Actually, no.
It happens.
That does happen, but not until after this. So Joe and Silvanito, they go back to the site of the massacre and get a couple corpses and take them to the cemetery and prop them up against a headstone.
And Silvanito balks at the idea. He's not having any of it. He's like, I hope you know I hope you know the guy you're putting those bodies next to is the only person to have died of pneumonia. You fucking asshole. And Joe's just like, well, 1, the dead can't talk. 2,
if they get shot,
they're already dead. And 3, it's a good way to put those 2 gangs against each other.
Yeah. So after that, then Joe goes to meet up with the Baxters and basically relay the story of how a couple survivors from the massacre survived. And they would like to get some safe passage to go tell the government what happened.
So he tells the Baxters, I'll tell you everything I know for $500.
He gets the $500.
And then he immediately
goes to the Rojos and tells them, hey, I got wind that the Baxters found out about a couple survivors that they're going to go meet up with.
I'll tell you more about this for $500. Joe's character is so good. He's such a great asshole.
And then while the Rojos are preparing to go fight against the Baxters in the cemetery, Joe just decides, well, I got my money. No sense in putting myself in any further danger, and just fake leaves.
Yeah.
But he sneaks back in.
He says earlier in the movie that he doesn't like the fact that the two gangs are going to
go at it.
Are going to be friends. He hates the fact, because that means he loses out on his money. So he comes up with the plan to plant the 2 fake survivors to put them against each other again. Because the Baxters don't trust the Rojos during the whole camp, during the whole
dinner invitation thing. They don't...
Yeah. The mother, the godmother of the gang basically tells them, don't trust anything they do. Don't drink anything. Don't eat anything. Just come there.
Like she's the smart one of the group.
She tells them to keep their eyes open.
Like, yeah, her husband's the one who runs the group, but she runs him.
As most godmothers do.
It's kind of like how Chi-Chi is the strongest woman in Dragon Ball because she can control Goku.
Because she's the only one who can beat the shit out of him. Which is amazing.
But so yeah, that should put you into perspective just what kind of situation is going on. So while the Rojos and the Baxters go to have their face off in the cemetery over
Joe's like, well, I got my money. No sense not getting more.
So
he distracts one of the guards. He shoots at their feet and gets
that was Chico.
He knocks out Chico
by shooting down an overhanging door.
Yeah.
To smack the dude in the head while he's busy trying to shoot at an unseen attacker
who happens to be Joe.
So after confirming that he's knocked the guy out, Joe sneaks into the
basically the reliquary
to go searching for the gold.
The storage area, basically.
To go searching for the gold. And there is a very nice kind of juxtaposition between the shootout at the cemetery and Joe just on just about every barrel in the place.
He knocks on every barrel and
to try and
he only discovers the gold accidentally when he leans up against a barrel
and the top just kind of flips.
And he's like,
But it's so freaking hilarious. He's so meticulously searching all these barrels, and then when he's just about to give up, he just happens to stumble upon the right one.
Yeah. But he can't get all the gold because he hears somebody coming.
And so he goes to sneak to the side of the entrance to attack whoever is coming out. And then he does attack Marisol.
He punches Marisol square in the face.
Oh, he feels bad about that. It's like,
he's like,
shit.
He's like, shit, what do I do? Oh, shit, they're coming back. Well,
I'm taking her with me.
Hell, I'm
taking her to the Baxters. At some point, one of the Baxter's son gets taken hostage. I don't recall when that happened. It must have been during the confusion.
It was during the shootout.
It was definitely during the shootout, but I don't recall seeing it happen.
So we'll just briefly recap the shootout. So the Baxters and the Rojos both meet up in the same spot looking for the survivors, and they both spot them at the same time. So then they both decide, shit, we're in deep enough. Let's just shoot it at each other. Fuck it.
Meanwhile, Ramon is trying to take out the two survivors who are just laying there against the headstone.
Yeah, and
not actually moving at all, which even the Baxters are a bit suspicious of before the Rojos show up.
Yeah. They're like, they haven't been moving for like an hour.
Almost like they're dummies or something. So, ultimately, Ramon does end up shooting the survivors, air quotes.
And he goads. He goads at the Baxters. He's like, ha-ha! Where are your survivors now, Baxters? Ha-ha! Ha-ha! We gotcha!
At some point, the Baxter son gets kidnapped. I honestly was completely surprised that happened because, like, when did that happen?
So Joe brings
Marisol to the Baxters to basically have them use her as a hostage in exchange for their son.
And he brings him over, and the godmother, I can't remember her name.
I don't either.
Mrs. Baxter. She's like, all right, $500.
So already, just this one night, Joe has pocketed $1,500.
From two separate people. He also gave back the money.
He did get back the what was it, $100 that the Rojos
he gave back the original $100
that the Rojos had given him for his services.
And they mentioned that.
Well, almost all of it. He did use some of it, but he explained that.
But the Rojos did mention, well, he's a good shot, but he's also smart. I don't know about him.
Yeah, Ramon is suspicious of him because he's a good shot, but also smart. So
you could see the
gears kind of turning.
Yeah, everything clicking in his head. So then, the next morning,
we have the hostage exchange.
Yep. So the Baxter's son and Marisol.
I'm a little surprised that at no point does Marisol even attempt to tell anybody, like even try to. I mean, granted, she's a hostage who is with the Rojos against her will, so she probably have used Joe as a savior of sorts. So
yeah. So they do the exchange, but halfway through,
the little boy who was being shot at before, he just comes out of the bar and it's like, Mama! Mama!
So at this point, not gonna lie, we both realized,
oh shit!
Because he was crying for most of the movie, and we're like, Jesus Christ, just shut the fuck up.
And then he's like, Mama! It's like,
oh shit!
Marisol is the boy's mother!
Oh no!
And I just was like, does Ramon know?
Does Ramon... Oh no!
So we're tense at this situation. What is going to happen?
So thing is, Joe doesn't even know anything.
This is all just, he's just been watching the whole thing.
Yeah.
At one point, he actually had gotten a chair out.
He
set it backwards.
Dude fucking got a chair out.
Set it backwards and rested on the headrest.
Oh my god, his character is so good.
It would have been complete if he had a bag of popcorn. He gives no fucks.
Joe, like, Clint Eastwood's character in this movie is so fucking perfect. Like, his character is so great. He doesn't need a name. All we know is that he's
a badass.
He's a badass who gives zero fucks and is only in it for the money. and few small moral obligations.
Which brings us to this point, because now that he knows that Marisol is the boy's son...
Yeah, so they threaten to shoot the boy and his father, who's also there. I believe his name is Louise.
I can't remember. You're gonna look it up, not super important, but...
Yeah.
So yeah, that...
Yeah, I don't think he doesn't... Yeah,
so ultimately, Joe does kind of intervene and basically splits up the family, and at one point tells the father to take that boy back home where he belongs.
Yeah,
he diffuses the situation
because Silvatino actually
explains to Joe what's all happening.
Silvatino pulls a gun on one of the Rojos.
Oh, that's right.
He pulls a gun and he's like, "Don't you fucking dare! I will shoot you." And Joe's like, "All right, everybody, let's not pop off on each other now. They've understood what's going on. You take Marisol. You get the fuck out of town. And Silvatino, put the gun down. We don't need this. You're my friend. I don't need this."
The situation gets diffused, but oh man, just the look on Ramon's face during this entire thing. It's like, oh, what's he going to do?
Like, Ramon, it's at this point, I think, Ramon realizes, we've got to get rid of this guy. This guy's a threat.
This guy could be a threat. But ultimately, the situation resolves, and that night...
They have a party! Hey!
And everybody gets drunk!
Including Joe!
And Joe has to be hauled back to his room because he passed out from being too drunk.
He's doing like a drunken, like an Irish drunk song. And they leave, and as soon as they leave, Joe's like, all right.
He gets back up,
all right,
dusts himself off, and sneaks out.
All right, down to business.
Badass!
Fucking Christ. So what happened, so the story behind it, the Marisol, is that Ramon accused another dude of cheating at cards, and basically they strong-armed him into giving up his wife because they threatened to shoot his kid. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And to make matters worse, they keep Marisol in a building that's right across the way from the guy's house. So he has to basically watch the place where his wife is being held hostage.
Yeah. It's the spot.
Horrible.
It's the spot at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
So Joe goes there.
And he saves Marisol.
He kills everybody.
He kills all the Rojos men in that small building. Frees Marisol, who actually saves his life by warning him that somebody's behind him. And he just tosses a machete through the dude. Like, Jason Voorhees would be proud.
Man. But it does not go unnoticed.
Yeah, because the shots ringing out are heard in town by the Rojos, who decide to go investigate. Now, after shooting all the guys in the building dead and freeing Marisol, he basically gives Marisol and her family the money and tells them to get the hell out of there.
He's like, you're a few miles from the border. Just cross it and get.
Just go.
Just get the.
And they're like, why are you doing this? Because I had encountered because I was in a similar situation and there was nobody to help me in that. Or some he encountered a similar situation where no one was there to help.
Yeah.
So he's not going to have a repeat of that.
I'm not really sure what that's referencing. I think it's just vague backstory.
Yeah. Yeah. It's never properly explained as far as I'm aware.
Which I think is the beauty of these films.
Yeah.
We don't need
to know all the details of this character. But what we do need to know is revealed to us.
Yes.
And that's all that matters. So after Marisol and her family head off, Joe
hides.
Joe has to hide because the Rojos are showing up. He hears them showing up. He hears the horses, so he hides, takes off to try and get back to the Rojos house before they get back because they're starting to head back. And it's just an absolutely beautiful sequence of him just ducking and weaving to avoid being caught by the Rojos while he takes a shortcut back to town. And he does manage to sneak back into his room and finds Esteban and Benito there waiting for him.
Yeah.
Because they had previously left, but their wagon wheel got damaged and they had to return for supplies. And they found him missing.
Ooh. Just the sheer
coincidence of that.
The terrible luck of Joe there. Everything was going his
was going his way, and then one circumstance that
he did not account for at all ruined his plans.
House of cards come tumbling down,
and he is captured, and he is
beaten the shit out of.
Like, it's so bad. Like, he's beaten so bad. He pretty much has broken legs.
One point, a dude puts out his cigarette on the dude's hand. He's just trying to crawl.
This guy just fucking gets the shit beat out of him.
But they don't kill him.
They don't kill him because they need the info. They need to know where Marisol is.
Because Ramon wants her back.
For reasons.
Yes.
It's not like he can't get any other fucking hoe in town.
He just wants that hoe specifically.
That hoe. That finest hoe in all of Mexico.
Who's probably in America at this point.
Oof.
But they decide to leave him alive and go rest up for the night. Set a couple guys to go watch.
So Chico comes back. Chico comes back to go torture Joe more. And they get into the room.
They come into the room, and then a huge barrel comes down the ramp and crashes into both of them, killing him instantly. And then
that barrel fucking explodes on him.
Just damn. And then Joe manages to drag himself out of the room and hide behind a corner when everybody else goes in to investigate.
And Joe
once everybody is in the room, I was thinking Joe was going to shut the door and lock it on them. No, he decides to light a match and start the doorway on fire because I guess there was just a whole bunch of oil and fuel in that barrel.
I think that barrel was supposed to be oil and gasoline. also, Joe can't walk.
Yeah, so
Joe is beaten so badly he can't walk.
So he has to crawl out of the Rojos
It's not even like a
storehouse.
Not even like a crawl. He has to he puts one arm in front of himself and he powers his way with one arm, dragging the rest of his body. It is some
He does manage to get out, and at this point the Rojos are on the manhunt for him, and he's hiding underneath the bar's porch.
Yeah. With Ramon on top.
I know. That's so beautiful. Because you can see Joe underneath the porch and Ramon just on top of him.
Just going mad.
Telling his men to go search the entire town for Joe when he's literally underneath the guy's nose.
It's so fucking brilliant. This is what... God. Sergio Leone is great, is a master of cinematography. He knows how to make a shot, how to shoot a film. And like that scene there is probably the best shot film in the entire movie.
Oh, they torture Silvanito.
Oh, Silvanito gets about the same amount of treatment as Joe.
Like he gets a bit better treatment because at least he can still walk when this is all done with.
Yeah.
But after searching Silvanito's bar and inn, they can't find Joe, so they determined that the only place that Joe is probably the safest place he probably is.
Only place, in quotations, the only place he can be is at the Baxters.
Even though he's literally at the window watching the whole thing play out. Like, he's spying in the window during the whole torture scene.
And you know what? What's also brilliant? There's also one place they decide not to check because they think that's pointless.
The Undertaker's yard.
They don't check the Undertaker's yard because why would Joe go there? That's their thinking. Joe wouldn't go there. There's nothing there.
But somebody does find Joe.
Yeah, the
Undertaker.
The Undertaker.
And that's because Joe lets him know. Like, he taps on the casket to get the Undertaker's attention.
And and the Undertaker's like, why are you under there? Doesn't matter why I'm under here. I need you to get me out of town.
But Joe...
Oh, no. That scene might not be the best shot. The next scene is probably the best shot scene in the entire movie.
Oh, yeah, because... Okay, so... As Joe and the Undertaker are heading out of town, Joe decides to watch what's about to happen at the Baxter place. And what happens is that the Rojo family just have a bunch of barrels lined up in front of the Baxter house, and they start shooting at him, causing them to explode, and causing a huge fire at the Baxter estate.
Yeah, they basically...
And then they wait. They wait for the Baxters to come out. And then they start shooting at the Baxters.
They're surrendering.
The Baxters are surrendering. And the Rojos don't give any single fuck.
Yeah, they shoot them.
They shoot everyone. John Baxter,
his son, and finally Mrs. Baxter,
who has basically pleaded with them over the fact that you've killed my son and husband. I'm done. I surrender. There's no more. We won't bother you ever again. And they shoot her dead.
Well, yeah, so John Baxter tells them, look, I'll leave town. I promise. You won't see me here again. You promise? I promise. For fuck's sake, just let us go. You really mean it? I really mean it. Please, let us go. Bang! Shoots them dead, and Mrs. Baxter comes out, and she's like, you've killed my son, and you've killed my husband. May you fucking choke on your own graves. May a swift death come to every single one of you. And they just shoot her.
She even calls them murderers because they were unarmed.
Yep.
It wasn't like a shootout.
Wasn't a gang. See, the laws of gang war specify if both sides have guns, they're right for pickings. You can shoot at them, but if they're unarmed, it's not legal to shoot them.
Oh, yeah.
According to the Wild West laws of gang warfare.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, right?
Damn.
And the scene is fucking shot beautifully, because you get Chico's face. No, not Chico. Chico's dead.
Yeah, Esteban, Ramon, Benito, the other Rojos that are there.
And their faces are lit by the flames. And just the look on their faces is
the cold-blooded look on all their faces.
Not
a single one of them has any remorse for what they're doing.
I don't know who's got the worst one who's got the best looking one out of all of them. I think Can't remember who's the one wearing the svelte, nice suit.
Pretty sure that's Benito.
Okay, yeah, Benito is probably the one that's got the word, like the
worst air quotes face.
Yeah, not like worst.
Like the best. We think it's the best.
Yeah, because it's like, oh yeah, no, these guys are villains.
Yeah,
these guys are the villains. There is no redemption for these guys.
It's like, I think the dude who shoots Mrs. Baxter, he's practically laughing.
Yeah,
about the situation. Like even Ramon has to look at the guy and be like,
"Fuck."
It's like if you could see the look on my face that I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Just like, wow, you're really into this, aren't you? Damn.
Wow. Damn. Do you have the weirdest boner right now?
Oh,
what are you, Dozel? So Joe's like, show's over, let's go.
Well, what? I really gotta give credit to this one stunt actor.
Oh God, that guy!
This one dude comes out of the burning building on fire, gets shot, falls over, and the shot lingers on him for probably a lot longer than you might expect.
Yeah,
like you would think that they would
shot lingered on him for like 8 seconds, and it's
like
just
God, and he's on fire. You would expect it to have kind of cut away at some point.
Mind you,
and I kept thinking, oh, they gotta cut away. Wow, they are not cutting away on this, are they?
Mind you, this was the '60s when stunt suits, when thermal suits, for when you light somebody on fire, they
weren't as good as they are now.
Had metal zippers on the back.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
ooh.
You can imagine.
And he was laying face down on fire.
He was laying face down.
Damn. I gotta give that guy my applause. He kills it in his death scene. And Tanner has left the building. No, he's just gone to abduct my girlfriend.
Yeah. Wow. No, we're leaving no context for that. No context. Moving on. So Joe gets taken to a cave to recover for a while, and he's shooting at this metal, I think boiler. It's like a boiler.
It's something made of cast iron.
And he's noticing something. He keeps shooting it. He's noticing there's no holes.
He's not shooting through it. He's just shooting at it.
Yeah. He's like,
Now, I feel I should mention at one point, much earlier in the movie, when Joe first met Ramon.
Oh yeah.
Ramon basically is extolling the virtues of his Winchester rifle, and basically says that in a duel between a man with a Winchester and a pistol, the man with the Winchester will win.
Yeah. So yeah, you can tell the kind of guy Ramon is. Also, during that whole...
Oh, during the party!
During the whole party...
Ramon even uses his Winchester to shoot a heart shape in a suit of armor with his pistol. To prove just how expert of a shot he is at shooting at the heart.
This will come back.
Yeah. We bring this up because it's going to be relevant real quick.
And remember that scene earlier in the movie with the armor when Joe was asking about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's unpin that.
Yeah.
Let's unpin that quick, because Joe as Joe recovers, he starts cutting through that metal with a saw, and
he's to start fashioning it into something.
And
while also practicing his own aim.
Yep.
To shoot dead on.
Yeah.
And I really gotta wonder, where the hell did they get all those bullets?
Silvanito's stockpile.
Okay.
I mean, it was Silvanito's cave.
Okay.
So, it was an old mining. It was an old mining cave that Silvanito found. So.
I'm not going to question it any further. It's just, these kind of Western movies, everybody just seems to have unlimited ammo.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the only reason I bring it up. So So then the Undertaker shows up to inform Joe that we got trouble. Silvanito's been captured by the Rojos. They caught him on the way here. He won't tell anybody. He's that tough, but damn, he is not in a good situation. And Joe decides it's time.
My people need me. I was waiting for that joke.
So he heads back into town while Ramon, Benito, and Esteban and the other members of the gang are there. The Undertaker gives Joe dynamite.
Yeah.
And Joe uses it to blow up the Rojo estate.
Yep.
Or the Baxter estate.
I think he blows up the ashes of the Baxter estate to distract them.
Yeah.
And sort of give them a cool visual effect.
Yeah, because he comes walking in through the smoke of it all.
Did a great shot, by the way. It's a great shot.
Fantastic shot.
So
I can definitely see why most animes use that shot, because it is a fantastic shot.
Yeah. So Silvanito's strung up by his hands, and he's getting the shit beat out of him.
But he's not talking.
He's not talking. Well, at this point, I don't think he can talk.
And Joe just decides to undercut the whole thing and reveal himself in the best way possible. We got the explosion of him just walking through the smoke. And he taunts Ramon into shooting him straight in the heart. And Joe goes down.
And everybody smiles, and that's the movie, folks. Joe's
Except
dead.
Joe gets back up.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
Joe
What?
gets back up.
What the fuck?
Yeah. The reaction you're having right now, it's the same reaction Ramon and everybody else had.
Yeah, he gets shot, he's lying down, and Ramon smiles, but then you see that smile fade away into confusion
as Joe
gets back up. And he's like, huh? What?
Shoots Joe again. Goes back down. Gets back up.
What the fuck?
And now it's at this point that Joe just starts taunting him. And it's like, hey,
why can't you shoot me? You said aim for the heart. Dead on the heart, right? Mind you, my thinking is, so why doesn't Ramon just shoot him in the head?
Because he's got his pride.
And that's what I'm thinking exactly. He's got his pride.
It's like, this guy should be going down. How am I missing the vital area? I'm assuming that's what his thought process is.
Or the other
that and the fact that this movie is actually incredibly bloodless.
Oh yeah, no, it just
everybody just kind of assumes that if you get shot, you just don't bleed, you just die.
Yep.
This movie could have been incredibly bloody, but it isn't.
I mean, the only really bloody parts is Joe when he's getting beat up.
Oh yeah, and then
he gets fucking battered. The makeup on Clint Eastwood in that scene is amazing. Because he's basically missing an eye, he's got a broken ankle, his hand is fucked up to hell, he's got a bloody lip, his nose is broken, he's got cuts and bruises everywhere. So
Joe makes his way over to Silvanito.
He's got that crippled arm that's put into an L shape. For most of the...
Like John?
Yeah, but, I mean... I love you, John. But
John, good on you.
Yeah.
This is your shout-out in this.
But that,
you know who you are.
Like, not meant as a negative. Not meant as a negative.
No, I was just using it as a comparison.
Yeah, it's basically how his arm looks. His arm's mangled the fuck.
Joe is still taunting.
Yeah.
He makes it over by Silvanito. I think Ramon tries shooting him again.
So yeah, he shoots him one final time, and Joe goes up against a bunch of barrels and like sits there for a bit. He sits there, and they're like, "Oh, we finally got him."
And then he sits up.
He's like, "Fuck! Oh no!" So they all go out. And they get ready to have a shoot-off.
And Joe moves his poncho to reveal the cast iron boilerplate.
And Ramon's like...
He's been using it as a shield. And Ramon is dumbstruck.
Ramon's like, Oh, you motherfucker.
So the Rojos decide they're gonna shoot at Joe, but he gets the jump on him, shoots the rifle out of Ramon's hand, and shoots everybody else dead.
Yeah, so Esteban and Benito, they're dead.
Everybody else that was with them,
which
I presume is the entire rest of the gang.
And you know who has the best reaction out of all of this? The Undertaker. He is ready to go to work. He's the happiest man on the planet right now.
But we got one final face-off.
So Joe says, yeah, so I've got no bullets. I've got one bullet right here in my hand, and you've got a bullet in your hand. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's see who's really the best.
Like, after all, you said, in a fight between a man with a Winchester and a man with a pistol, the Winchester always wins. Yeah. Let's see how true that statement is.
A 45, by the way.
Colt 45.
Yep.
And,
the strongest handgun in all the world.
So, yeah. They have this tense... Joe tosses his gun aside, the same distance as that the Winchester's at. So they both...
pick it up.
They both pick up their weapons, and Joe manages to get his loaded and shoots at Ramon before the dude can draw a bead on him.
Yep.
And the cool thing was, the way Joe did it, he did it basically Russian roulette style. He put the bullet in,
yep,
spun the chamber and closed it. So Ramon, who could have very easily gotten a shot off if Joe's calculations had been off, even a fraction,
yeah,
Ramon winds up dead.
Yeah.
He hesitates for a moment, and that moment is deadly for him. And it's all thanks to that intimidation tactic.
Ramon gets shot, and he's tumbling everywhere, and he just tips over and finally dies in the fountain.
And then the Undertaker goes to take everybody's measurements.
Oh my god! I had made the joke, dude. Come on, that's a nice suit. Why don't you let me have it? Yeah, the Undertaker goes right to work. And
then the dude from the beginning of the movie who's trying to sell Joe some shit decides to ring the bell to signal the end of the gang war. They've been playing the town. So Joe managed to save the entire town. All 3 people that were left.
So Silvanito, yeah. So Silvanito tells him, hey, well, I mean, a Spanish company's going to be coming, and an American company might be coming. What do you think? And Joe has the best line in the entire movie. Spanish army on one side, American army on the other, and me in the middle. Too risky.
Yeah, no, gang, American gang and Mexican gang. No problem. I see the advantage of that. 2 armies? Fuck that.
Yeah. Joe is not anything but smart.
And that was Fistful of Dollars.
Man, what a movie. Yeah. That was great.
It was great.
And it wasn't long either.
No, it was, what did you say, like about 70 minutes?
100 minutes. 99 to 100 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it felt a lot shorter. Probably because we cut...
It went at a very nice pace.
Well, we also cut a lot of the fat and unnecessary shit.
Right, but the movie itself goes at a very nice pace. You don't feel like any scenes are dragging on for too long, except for that one dude with the guy on fire, but I'm just impressed with that one.
That one's too impressive not to be...
It's like, I can't even be mad. It's like, damn.
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know, what would you give that?
I would give this movie an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10? 8 out of 10 sounds about right to me. I mean, it's not Sergio Leone's best, and Ennio Morricone does much better music later on, but this is like his 3rd or 4th best.
I mentioned this when we were watching the movie, but this is actually the first Clint Eastwood movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, this was the first Clint Eastwood movie he had seen in full.
Yeah. Like, I knew about other movies, like $1 Million Baby, Gran Torino, the Dirty Harry movies, but I had never actually watched any of them.
Yeah.
Until now. So, yeah. This was fantastic. Any other useless trivia?
Well, Esteban. So we missed a small part. Esteban managed to survive. Esteban was hiding.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But Silvanito managed it. He's Esteban. Was it Esteban? I think
it was Esteban.
Okay. I guess Esteban was the nut who shot
yeah.
Mrs. Baxter, I guess. Well, he's up on like the second floor of another building and almost shoots Joe from behind. But then Silvanito shoots him first.
Yeah, he strikes first.
After Joe cuts him down.
So that's the only thing we missed. God damn it.
No regrets!
All the regrets. What do you think your girlfriend would think? That's it. I am kidnapping her. You fucking dweeb.
Until the next time.
Well, first off, before we go, how was NXT?
Oh, I didn't watch this week. I was too busy
Fucking
editing.
whore.
I was busy editing.
How was Raw?
It was alright.
How was SmackDown?
It was alright.
Okay. Not much happened.
Nah, not really. Nothing that really impressed me. But,
okay.
Yeah, that's just...
What are we doing next time?
Next time we're getting back to the origins of all this.
Oh no, not again.
Yep.
Fuck. How many more do we have to go?
2 more.
Fuck's sake. God damn. Thank God those movies are only an hour long.
I think these 2 might be a bit longer, but I might be misremembered. I might be wrong.
While we're at it, why don't we just read the complete tales and poems of Edgar Allan Poe?
Well, they are public domain, I think.
Yeah.
That'll be some nice bedtime reading.
When I stumble, weak and weary. Who is that rapping on my chamber door? Only this, and never more.
Anyway.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Alright.
I was gonna go with the Cask of Amontillado, but...
Oh, yeah. Hey, dude, I'm walling you up. How are you? Aren't you
Hey, dude, I'm pissed off at you. Want some wine?
Dude, I have a great cask of Amontillado.
Go check out this new room. It's your permanent resting place.
Dude, come on.
And then there's Fall of House of Usher. That one just collapses. What the hell?
And there's Mask of the Red Death, where everybody has a great 18th century party, but everybody fucking dies because we hid ourselves from the plague. Like, that's not the responsible thing to do. Fucking Edgar Allan Poe is such a pessimist. Jesus Christ. Have you noticed that?
Well, he is a horror writer predominantly.
Even if he's a horror writer, he's, like, ridiculously pessimistic on certain subjects, like the Mask of the Red Death. They hid themselves from this plague. Well, they deserve to die. Like, what the fuck? Sure, they got a bit rambunctious.
That's really off topic, though.
Man, they really got rambunctious with their parties.
Anyway, that was a Fistful of Dollars and my recycled balls rambling about Poe. I've been ProtoMet.
This is my recycled balls. I'm gonna go die.
See ya.
See ya.